It's time, Justin. It's time for us to talk about the worst movie ever
God,
created.
I mean, considered one of
The
the worst
worst.
movies ever created.
No, no. It is the worst, most nonsensical movie ever created, which is called The Room.
Perfect world.
These are for you.
Thanks, honey. They're beautiful.
A perfect life.
I would do anything for my girl.
I love you, Lisa.
I love you, Johnny.
He provides for you. Darling, you can't support yourself.
I don't love him anymore. He didn't get his promotion. And he got drunk last night. And he hit me.
It's not true. I did not hit her. Well, maybe you should have a girl, Mark.
Ah, it's The Room.
Which then spawned the Disaster Artist. But we can't talk about that before we at least talk a little bit about The Room.
The Room.
The Room, made by Tommy Wiseau, is bad. It is a bad movie. It is a bad,
Fascinatingly,
nonsensical movie.
fascinatingly
No,
bad
Justin,
movie.
we're we're not talking about the behind the scenes stuff yet. We're not there yet. We have to talk
No,
about the movie itself.
but it's a movie that makes you go, how did this? Well, for me, the first time I watched it, I didn't know what it was. So it made me mad because I didn't understand the concept of like fun bad movies where it's like you enjoy it because it's bad. But it is a truly fascinating. You're like, what were you thinking? What was the thought process?
Just so much,
So many
so much.
questions. So many questions.
Um, like there's inconsistencies from scene to scene. There's the fact that I don't believe that this 22-year-old woman would have any interest in Johnny.
No.
Um, like
The
if
sex
she
with the
was with
belly
him for
button.
7. Oh, there's the fact that they were together for 7 years and she's 22, which means that she started dating him when she was 15.
Ooh, gross.
Something like that. She's supposed to be 20 something, I think. Um, and they say that yeah, they're in a set, and people apparently behind the scenes pointed that out to him multiple times, and he still went along with it. People all along the making of this actively made suggestions to try and make this less bad, and he spat in the face of that, and damn it all, made the thing that he made, which you got to respect.
I mean, hey, we're still talking about it. One of the most famous independent
It's
films of all time.
it has been described as the Citizen Kane of bad movies.
Indeed, it has been.
Uh,
Indeed, it has been.
I've not seen Citizen Kane, but that feels like an appropriate
Yeah, it's pretty appropriate. Yeah, pretty appropriate description.
um yeah, it was a box office bomb.
What's The Room
So
about, Jordan? Jordan, in 30 seconds or less, describe the plot of The Room.
uh Johnny's a
And go.
banker. Johnny has a person, a woman who's going to be his wife. She is a sociopath and sleeps with his best friend. And then Johnny finds out and ends up killing himself.
And they throw a good old American football.
A lot. Also, he has a weird adoptive son who wants to sleep with his future wife, and he's like, and when he confesses to that, Johnny doesn't have the like any sort of normal reaction, but he's like, "That's okay. Love is love. Love is okay. That's fine. She's not gonna act on it. It's okay. Don't worry about it. We'll fix it in post. I mean, it's fine. Line." Line. What's my line?
I did not hit
Line.
her. I did not. I
I
did
didn't. I
not.
I did not hit her. She's fucking lying.
I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
Hello.
Oh, so bad.
Hi, Kitty.
Hello,
Oh, hi,
Hi,
doggy.
Mark. Hello, hi, doggy.
Hi, doggy.
Hello, Mark. It's
Yeah.
fucking bullshit. I did not hit her. Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark.
It's just a
Um,
weird performance. I say, man, everyone gives Johnny a lot of shit in that movie. Everyone's performance in that movie is bad. All of them, they're all bad.
well, I mean, to be fair, some of the performances can't help but be bad because the writing was atrocious.
I mean, yeah, the writing is very
You
bad.
know, the writing is very bad. It's all very bad. There's so much about it that's bad, Justin.
You're like, what?
Um,
What were you thinking, man?
there's just, I mean, I have the Wikipedia open here. I could read through like some of the there's a long section of inconsistencies, which I could go through
Give me a
just a
few. Give me a
few.
few. Give me a few.
Here's one of the most egregious ones. Um, in the first scene, Johnny enters the rooftop in the middle of a tirade about being wrongfully accused of domestic abuse, and becomes abruptly cheerful upon seeing Mark. And a few moments later, he laughs inappropriately upon learning that a friend of Mark's had been severely beaten.
Oh yeah, right. I forgot about that.
And on set, Sestero and Sandy repeatedly tried to convince him that it should not be comical and he shouldn't be laughing, and he just kept laughing. He apparently thought it was domestic abuse. Very funny. What else? Continuity errors. Um, Mark attempts to kill Peter by throwing him off a roof after Peter expresses belief that Mark is having an affair with Lisa. Seconds later, Mark pulls Peter back from the edge of the roof, apologizes, and they continue their previous conversation with no acknowledge of the fact that he just tried to murder him. Let's see. Uh, Oh, yeah. At one point, principal male characters congregate in an alley behind Johnny's apartment to play catch with a football while wearing tuxedos for some reason. Uh, when Mark arrives, he is revealed to have shaved his beard, and the camera slowly zooms on his face while dramatic music plays on the soundtrack. Nothing that is said or occurs during the scene has any effect on the plot. The scene ends abruptly when the men decide to return to Johnny's apartment after Peter trips. Why were they in tuxedos? Nobody knows.
Wasn't it? I can't remember. Isn't it? Because at one point there was a subplot or something to do with a wedding that they cut out.
I in the behind the scenes stuff, I think so. But I in the movie, there's no
No.
acknowledgement or reason why. Um. Uh. Inconsistent things that are mentioned once and then never mentioned again. Um. What's her name's mother mentioned she has breast
Oh
cancer at one
yeah.
point,
I have
and
breast
that goes.
cancer.
I found out I have breast cancer.
I found out I have
Nothing.
breast cancer.
So funny enough for that one that I just mentioned, the tuxedo one, um, apparently Wiseau received enough questions about the scene that he just decided to address it in a Q&A segment featured on the DVD release. Rather than explaining the scene, though, Wiseau states only that playing football without the proper protective equipment is fun and challenging. That's all he said about that.
Of course.
Um,
Tommy.
Uh, Sestero has been questioned about the significance of Mark's shaving, though his only response for several years was, "If people only knew." He describes in The Disaster Artist that Wiseau insisted he shave his beard on set just so Wiseau would have an excuse for Johnny to call Mark babyface.
Oh yeah.
Wiseau's
And he resisted because
Wiseau's
he
own nickname for Sestero, and that the revealing of beardless Mark would be a moment. Sestero further detailed how the football tuxedo scene was concocted on set by Wiseau, who never explained the significance of the scene to the cast or crew, and insisted that the sequence be filmed at the expense of other relevant scenes. This movie was bad, is the point. Bad and
so okay.
Uh, so that's the room itself. So now, having been said that, there's the Disaster Artist movie and the Disaster Artist book.
Everybody want to be star. You have to be the best. and never give up.
When I get up on stage in front of people, all I can think about is, what if they laugh at me? But you, man, you're fearless. I want to feel that too.
I don't care. I'll do it. You and me, we both have this dream.
Yeah, I guess we do.
That we'll be famous. We'll show them. Watch out, here we come. To be or not to be.
It's not gonna.
If you're looking for a more true, true, telling, or more accurate telling, I should say, of what actually happened, listen to / read the book,
Are we gonna do
because that goes into a lot of detail.
We're gonna do the book and the movie together later.
Well, I figured we would do them now.
You want to do them now? Do them now?
Well, I mean, unless you want to have to edit all the disaster artist related stuff together later.
Yeah, I guess we'll do it now. Sure, why not? Why not?
I figured because they were all one thing, we would do them all together.
Disaster Artist book. Yeah,
so
the book is quite good. I fully recommend the book. If you want to hear this, in order to fully appreciate that, you gotta watch The Room. That's the big thing.
Yeah. In the order to me in which you should experience this is you watch The Room so you can just see the infamously bad movie.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
then you listen to the audiobook to hear the true behind the scenes of kind of what happened, as told by Mark. The character Mark.
Greg
the actor
Greg Sestero.
Greg Sestero. And then Hollywood's interpretation of that book is the movie.
Which is funny, because the movie is
has a
more...
lot of movement. The movie has a lot of moments which are just flat out not true.
Yeah.
Like they're fictional. They don't happen. And this is where Justin and I have a disagreement. Well, slight disagreement. I think we both agree on the major point of it. The movie exists to soften Wiseau.
I don't think that it exists to exist to soften him. Certainly, they did soften him. Would be, I think, is indisputable. Who the intent of which and who chose to is definitely up for debate. Whether or not he directly demanded it, I don't think he demanded it. Did he ask for it? I don't think he did, because the thing about Tommy is I don't think he's self-aware. I think
how do I word that?
I think he might be.
I don't
now,
think that it was.
But...
I don't think that it was necessarily having reflected a little more. I don't necessarily think that it was entirely Johnny. I think Johnny maybe jokingly was like, "Just make sure you make me look good." Ha ha ha.
Yeah, that I could believe. Yeah, that I could believe.
I think that upon selling his book, Greg asked them to be nice.
Oh, I'm sure that probably he did. Yeah, certainly. I think probably James Franco and the people involved that they decided to be also for the sake of the movie, they want it to be a feel good thing, and it really wants you to root for Tommy. It wants you to feel bad for Tommy.
Yeah.
They want you to be
really
like,
does.
He's just a sad, weird guy, even though. Yeah, the book
paints him as being and Hollywood is out to get him.
Right.
You should feel bad for him. What he did was brave, and he succeeded. And so there's a section here in the Wikipedia which has an accuracy part. So I can actually tell you some of the things.
To be fair to the movie versus the book, yes, the movie is very much an adaptation of the book. But the book is also entirely from Greg's perspective. We don't know what Tommy's perspective of this movie is. At least I don't know what his perception of it is, or his perspective of it is.
Yeah, that's very true. And that's a big thing with the movie is the movie very much gets not only Tommy wrong, but Greg.
It gets the events of what happens to Tommy kind of wrong. But man, is it a good impression.
The portrayal of that's true. The portrayal of Tommy is fairly accurate.
It's really
the
quite
portrayal
good.
of the portrayal of Greg, I don't think is.
No,
I don't think it's done very well.
He's too. It's a different kind of pretty boy, is how I would put it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So I'm gonna just I'm gonna read through some of the differences between the real life events and the movie. In the movie, Tommy gets the inspiration to write The Room as a feature film. In the original one, it was in actual real life, I should say, he was inspired to make a play
Yeah,
after seeing The Talented Mr. Ripley.
yeah.
In the movie, his Greg's mother is not doesn't seem to have an accent of any sort. In real life, she is a native French
Um,
speaker and has a French accent.
it's also important to note that Tommy Wiseau was very much inspired by the works of Tennessee Williams. So that in particular, there's the very famous "You're tearing me apart, Lisa," is very much a reference to the movie Rebel Without a Cause, I believe. James Dean. They very much. I don't know if your Wikipedia mentions this, but in real life and in the book, Tommy is very obsessed with James Dean. Like there's a major bit where they go to like where he died, I think, to the car where the car crash was, and they
Yeah,
like
they do. They do in the movie too.
yeah, but he like in the book like he's way more obsessed with them. Like he wants
Hello?
to. Oh no!
Hello?
Jor- Hello?
Oh, you're cutting out, Justin.
Dang it! Hold on, give it a minute.
The stream is doing the circly thing as well.
Give it a minute. Are we good
And
now?
your picture has cut out.
Can you hear me, Jordan?
Can you hear me?
Can
Are
you
you
hear me?
back? I think you're back. Um yeah, no, they're so the scene where he says you're tearing me apart, Lisa, that was originally supposed to be a different line there and he changed it in the moment.
Yeah, yeah.
Um
But yeah, the movie very
but
much cuts out his obsession
another
with James Dean. Was my point.
yes, yes it does. Well, a little bit. It softens it.
Yeah, it's supposed to. The idea
He
though is
does
supposed to be like a Tennessee Williams Mid American
they
style
in the
drama.
movie they do have in the movie they do have a scene where they're watching that scene. So there is
Oh,
reference
okay.
to it.
Yeah, yeah. That's his big
Um
because it's like his whole thing is he thought he was this. It was this big drama. That was his whole thing.
one of the big things that the film early on changes is the film makes it look like Sestero eagerly accepts the role of Mark and gets it right away, and they go into filming and he was always Mark, and that's not how it happened. In
No.
real life, Sestero reluctantly took the role after Wiseau offered to buy him a car and pay him a lot of money to do it, and they actively screwed. Well, he Wiseau actively screwed the guy who was originally going to play Mark out of the role,
Yep. And
so that
also it leaves out the part that he wasn't technically an actor when he first signed onto the room. He was a I forget the term doula, not doula. But he was basically like an
oh
assistant. Greg, when Greg first signs on to the
oh Greg
movie,
Greg was a intern
yeah,
when he first signs on.
yeah, he
He
doesn't
everyone around the cast thinks he's an intern, and he's working as a he's doing
script supervisor.
script supervisor
Yeah, he's a script supervisor.
in secret
Yeah,
um uh uh the restaurant scene where Tommy accosts a room film producer never happened.
no, and the film producer I think in this movie, I believe it's Judd Apatow. I'm pretty sure it's Judd Apatow.
Apatow, yeah, it's Apatow.
Yeah,
And he says that James Franco tricked him into playing a version of himself as a generic asshole producer.
tricked him.
Although he didn't initially realize that when being cast, Franco and Apatow claimed that the latter is not that bad in real life. He was apparently he was supposed to be an amalgam of other producers.
Funny.
Um, uh, another big change. While turmoil on set is depicted in the film, the real life production went through three different sets of crew.
Yeah, yeah. The movie,
Whereas
the movie really dialed.
the move the movie only has him fire two members.
But that's what's funny about the. Everyone's always like, "Oh, the Hollywood version's always more exaggerated." No, if anything, the opposite is true. They really downplayed a lot of what he did.
It tames a lot.
Yeah, he's a real bad guy. Treated a lot of people like shit.
Another what I would say minor one is And the film depicts the line "beat her up so bad she ended up in a hospital on Guerrero Street" as scripted. In real life, he ad-libbed Guerrero Street, and Tommy was pissed. Um, da, 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 da. At the time, the disaster artist, the Bryan Cranston scene never happened.
Bryan Cranston. Remind me what that one is. Oh, were they?
At the time the disaster artist is set, Greg had never met Bryan Cranston in real life and was not forced to choose between The Room and shooting an episode of Malcolm in the Middle. He was
Right,
reluctant to shave his beard due to wanting to disassociate himself from The Room.
right, right,
That's
right.
why that's why he had a beard in real life, because he was like, once this comes out, if this comes out and it's terrible, I can shave the beard and nobody's gonna ever know I was in it.
Right, right. Well, I know that wasn't the
But
movie also cuts
obviously,
out him
in
going
in
off
the
and do.
movie in the movie version, they can't have that be the excuse, because he was excited to be a part of it from the very beginning. He was never
Right.
embarrassed, right? So they have to change that.
Right. Also, they also
Um,
don't they also cut out him going to be in Puppet Master? Because that's the whole reason why he wants him
oh,
to be in the room as
yeah,
well.
they've cut out a lot of the before the room stuff. So like the reason why Tommy goes and gets his SAG card is because Greg does.
Yeah,
Everything that Tommy does is in mimicry of Greg.
yeah,
Goes and gets his SAG card, tries to go on all, comes to LA, sends his stuff out to a bunch of producers. But unlike Tommy, who has success, or not Tommy, unlike Greg, who has success, Tommy has none, which is why in real life he hits a point where him and Tommy have a big fight, basically. And I keep saying him and Greg. Tommy and Greg have a big fight, and then Tommy fucks off and says he's going to Europe. And that's where, when he's in Europe, he writes The Room. And like years later, he comes back and reconnects with Greg,
yeah.
and he's like, I finally finished it. And like he's grown, he's like, they haven't talked in years. It's not like this where it's like he does it and they're friends the entire time and they're best buddies. This really softens a lot
It
of
also
Tommy.
the book also kind of implies that yeah, he that Tommy is might have a thing for Greg. Like he might have a crush on him.
See, I never got that.
Like so, his jealousy and he becomes obsessed. It becomes like when he moves in, it borders
Yeah,
on.
like I I definitely see the obsession. I don't see it as a romantic thing. I see it as he's young. He has the success that Tommy wanted when he was his age. He's jealous of him.
Oh, for sure. That
Absolutely.
cannot be.
He
Yeah.
he 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 wants everything that Greg has. But I've never, when I was listening to it and in the movie and in everything, I don't see it as a romantic thing. I
No,
don't see it as
I
he romantically wants to be with Greg. It's he wants to be Greg.
yeah. I don't know. I got the for me the book gave it gave essentially that he was obsessed with him in a way that either was or was
Oh,
not.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, he
Wh-
was he was obsessed with them. I just don't see it as a
which
romantic
which the
thing.
movie cuts out almost completely.
Yeah, to a big degree.
Yeah.
That's where I say the movie really, really, really softens Tommy.
Yeah.
Really, 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 really does.
Yeah. Well, it cuts out a lot
The
of the more
biggest,
sinister
probably
stuff
the
for sure.
biggest change between reality and this movie, though. Oh, you're still there?
I'm here.
Hello,
I'm here.
hello.
I'm here.
The biggest thing that it changes, though, is the fact that in the movie, the room is being met with laughter and applause. The real screening was not received with that. It
No,
was received poorly, and many audiences walked out.
yeah, I imagine. Yeah, oh yeah, the bit where they all give him a standing ovation at the end. Yeah, I was like,
Like
yeah,
they're
there's
all
no way that
standing and
happened.
cheering, and no, that's not. No,
But he
no,
didn't start
no,
to.
no. Most of the audiences apparently left within the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, the apparently. Well, I mean, to be fair, eventually people did. I guess that apparently that's a sort of
It
a
took
metaphor
years.
for people's
It
eventual
took
appreciation for it. But
it took years to
yeah,
develop a
we
cult
love it. We
status.
love it ironically now, but back in the day, no, people did not love it ironically. You had to get there.
Um, Apparently there's never been like a final um like what he spent on it versus what it made. But from what is supposedly true, he spent upwards of $5 million on it, and it made 1,200 ish.
But by this point, it's had to have made its money back in
Oh,
terms
oh, if
of.
you if on well, see, that's where I'm looking at the disaster artist itself. Sorry, that's very different.
Yeah, that movie did
That
quite
has a
well.
very
That movie did quite
that
well.
that is a very so you keep talking. I'm gonna try and bring back
Yeah,
up
because I'm
to
like, there's no. It's surely the room had to, because he's done fan screenings and Q&As. Like, it's a very popular thing to
oh,
go
there
and
was a
like.
while there where for years it was a yearly thing where they would play it.
Yeah.
Uh, so okay, Wikipedia for the room now. I don't know if this is like a continual thing that they've updated over the years, but currently it says that it had a budget of 6 million, and under the section which says box office, it says 5.2 million.
So it's just made its money back.
The
Man,
room from the room box office mojo archived from the original on July 25th, 2023, retrieved June 8th, 2024. So yeah, I think that's the 5.2 is as of like this year.
that's funny. I mean, okay, it made some of its money. I have to imagine that must not count like fan screenings and Q&As and speaking
Probably
engagements and
not.
personal appearances and like book sales in the case of Greg. Him, yeah, he shows up in the Disaster Artist, and in my opinion, a fun cameo. I think that's kind of funny. But yeah, him getting a standing ovation at the end for this movie is where, when you're like, I believe that he came in and pulled an ego trip. That's where I'm like, I could believe that. But like, there's just this weird innocence about Tommy, where like, I genuinely don't think he has intentional bad intentions.
But he doesn't have an in it. If you listen to the audio book, he doesn't have innocence.
I don't know.
Not really.
He doesn't come, from what I recall anyway. He doesn't seem to come across as having self awareness. Like, he doesn't seem
But
to have self awareness.
again, if you read the book, read slash listen to the book, yes, he does. The
Yeah,
car the car scene where he has Greg in the car, and he's why did you tell the people about me, why did you, and he's like angry, and he's upset, and he's manipulative, and it isn't until basically Greg says a particular thing and puts him back at ease, like, and basically once Tommy feels like he's in control again,
so you're
that
saying
he goes.
the
Sorry.
weirdness is an act, is what you're trying to say.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm saying it's an
Fair.
act, and he uses it to take advantage. I think he absolutely has the man is rich for a reason.
True. True.
Like, from what we people don't know everything about him, but from what I gather from the Disaster Artist book, and from like what he is, a fairly savvy businessman.
I
He's not a good
mean,
director, not a good filmmaker, but he was capable of amassing a large amount, enough money to make this thing.
true. True. That he could just
So
endless bottomless
that
well of
requires
cash.
that requires a certain amount of intelligence.
Yeah.
So for him to have just a simple clause in there, which is like, you like try to make me look good. Yeah,
I could
I
see.
I
I
believe
can
it.
both believe it and not believe it at the same time. It's just one of those things where it's like, I can believe that he didn't need to. They just chose to, because like, to be fair, they didn't purchase the rights to his life. They purchased the rights to the Disaster Artist, which does not paint him well. They didn't need to paint him well. They didn't need to make him look good.
Sure,
Like,
but again, uh, so I believe Greg would have had to get permission to write the book in the first place.
not
You
necessarily.
can't you can't just write things that without, like, that's slander.
Not if
You
they're.
have to you have to get permission.
I mean,
You have to get
you don't
you have to
have
get a
to.
person to sign off on a book before you can put their name in it.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm pretty sure, if he's not saying anything, if he does feel it's slanderous, he can choose to sue. but he could not choose to sue. That depending on what it is, it would also
Sure, I
make him
mean,
look
yes,
bad.
absolutely, you could choose not to or choose to, but the point is that they wouldn't make a thing that he could sue them about.
No, they
So,
would not
so
necessarily,
they
not unless
they
they
would.
didn't care or that he was a specifically a like a lot like 'cause there's times where like obviously when you make someone look bad and like for example they didn't get Trump's permission to make that Trump biopic that makes him look like a rapist. So like you don't
and
have to get
and he's trying to sue them.
right. Yeah, if I say if you don't want to get sued, you theoretically ask permission, but you don't have to. I guess is my point.
It just definitely, to
They
me,
clearly chose
every
to because he's in it.
every part of this movie, A, rewrites history, and B, makes Tommy look better.
You're not
So
wrong. It does. It definitely. The
it's
fact that it
it's
ends with a standing ovation does make me go like, yeah, probably. He probably. There's at some point somebody said something around him or involving him. I'm guessing
I
maybe.
mean,
I could believe Greg would look. If you were gonna get Tommy involved, you have to stroke his ego. Perhaps it was his idea. I just don't necessarily think it was Tommy's idea. I guess is my point.
yeah, that's fair. I just ultimately, clearly, someone did,
Yeah, oh for
because
sure.
this is absolutely rewriting history to make
Yeah.
Tommy look
The
like an
book.
angel.
The book is way more interesting. And yeah. To be fair, I would love to hear an articulate version of his perspective on this. Like an honest to God one. Like what do you think of this 20 years later? Do you honestly think this is your best work? Cuz he
I mean,
has made a movie that is apparently quite good.
I make the argument that if you want it, so okay, hot take. My argument: you want reality, go read the book. You want Tommy's version of events,
Yeah, watch
watch
the
this
movie.
movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that really, like, this feels like we're watching, and for better or worse, this feels like we're seeing the events through his eyes.
It does. I do agree. I do agree with that.
Like
Jordan.
he went to Greg and was like, "I want you to be Mark," and in reality, Mark resisted. In Tommy's head, he said yes right away.
Yeah, true. Yeah, it's a fair point. Yeah, maybe. It's a very fair point. Jordan, is that it for The Room? Tommy Wiseau and the Disaster
Oh,
Artist.
yeah. I don't think I can do. I don't think I can do any more of him.
My goodness, what a unique character. I enjoy him. I think guys like him to a degree are good for filmmaking because they're just weird. They're odd people.
He makes me think of William Hung.
I can see why you would say that. We got famous for being bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay, Jordan, we have. Oh, hi there. It's Justin at the end card again. So, have you seen The Room? Have you heard this very strange story about this very strange man and his very strange movie? Have you seen The Disaster Artist? Did you read the book? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you'd like, you can click the video on the left-hand side, and that's going to take you to the full podcast where we talked about all sorts of other kinds of movies, including I had to watch Bridget Jones's Diary for some reason, but you can go check that out by hitting the video on the left. And if you would like to see another video that YouTube thinks you're going to enjoy, click the video on the right. Either way, we'll see you in the next video. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. Have a good day, everybody.